Alright, today we're going to do chemical mixture problems, type B. I think it's less than 61. I forgot to put that on the board. If you didn't like chemical mixture problems before, maybe this will help clarify how to do them. These are actually easier problems. This is type B. They only have one variable in them, so that means we're only going to have one equation, so they're a lot easier to solve. So here's our first example. How much water must be evaporated, that's different, from 100 gallons of a 10% brine solution to get a 40% brine solution? Brine is just salt. So there's two ways you can do this particular problem. We want to evaporate water from 100 gallons of brine solution. So let's just, the first time we do this, let's talk about it in terms of water. Let's do it in terms of water first. So we have 100 gallons of solution, and we're going to evaporate some solution, and we're going to get some solution that's 40%. So this time, instead of trying to get 100 gallons of something, we're starting with 100. We're going to subtract off some water so that we get a solution that's 40%. So this one we're going to do in terms of water. The first one thing we have is we have 100 gallons. So we're going to start with our 100 gallons, and we're going to put it in that container. It says that it's 10% brine solution, but we're going to do it in terms of water, so that means it's going to be 90% water. So I'm going to make this 90% water right here. We need to evaporate off the water, so we'll let that be X because we don't know how many gallons we have to evaporate out. And it's water, so this is in terms of water, so it's going to be 100%. This is 100%, which is just going to be 1. If we move our decimal over. Then how much solution are we going to have left? How many gallons are we going to have left? We started with 100. We're subtracting off X, so it's going to be 100 minus X gallons that are going to be left in our container. And it's going to be, we want it to be 40% brine, but remember we're doing it in terms of water. So it's going to be 60%. So it's going to be 0.6. So that's our setup. We have the amount we have. We're subtracting off a certain amount. We don't know how much water in order to get it more down to 60% water. So we have our equation. We just need to multiply our 0.9 times our 100. There's only one variable, so we only need one equation. So we're going to take 0.9 times 100 minus 1, because it's 100%, times X equals 0.6 times 100 minus X. So we're just going to multiply the percentage times what's in it. Before we did the percentage times what's in it, and then we had a second equation, but we don't need the second equation because we only have one variable. So we're just going to multiply this out. We're going to get 90 minus X equals 60 minus 0.6X. Very simple now. We're going to, we'll subtract 60 from both sides and get 30. This is the same as 1, so we're going to add 1 minus 0.6, which would just be 0.4, X. Divide both sides by 0.4, and we get X equals 75. And you need to put your units on. I've corrected the test already, and they forgot their units. And it's minus 1 point. So get in the habit of putting your units on in your homework problem. So if we have 100 gallons of water, if we subtract off 75 gallons of water, we're going to have a solution that's 60% water. And we're going to do this problem again. This is going to be a longer lesson for the YouTube video. We're going to do this problem again, only we're going to do it in terms of brine instead of in terms of water. So let me erase part of this so we have room. All of that. You can just rewind if you need to look at that again. Alright, this one's in terms of brine. So again, we have 100 gallons in our first container. We're going to subtract off an unknown amount, and we're going to end up with 100 minus X. So far everything's the same, because if you take away, if you evaporate something, you're subtracting it and you're going to have that amount minus what you evaporated. Now let's do our percentages. This time it's in terms of brine, so we have a 10% brine solution. We're going to subtract off the water, and how much brine is in water? 0. That would be 0 because there's no, we're subtracting off brine, so there's not going to be any water in brine. And that's going to equal, we want a 40%. The difference between these two is this one is water, we're subtracting off water, and this is 100%. But here we're subtracting off brine, which is 0%. That's a little confusing. If this one makes more sense, just go with this one. So we're just going to take 0.1 times 100. That's just going to be minus 0. Equals 0.4 times 100 minus x. And so we're going to get 10 equals 40 minus 0.4x. This time we'll subtract 10 from both sides and add the 0.4x over here. I'm just going a little quickly here. And we're going to get exactly the same thing. If you divide by 0.4, we're going to get x equals 75 gallons. So it's the same solution, same answer. If we take 100 gallons minus 75 gallons, we're going to get a 40% solution. All right, let's go over to example 2.